What's up, everybody? It's your boy Devon Taylor here, aka Deezus, and this is my podcast, Deezus Take the Reel. No, this is not a religious podcast. It's a podcast where we're talking movies, we're talking life, we're talking all sorts of crazy shit. And as you're going to hear in pre-recording later, I have somebody that understands this perfectly. Out here traveling, doing the LA thing, doing the comedy thing. And I've been a big fan of yours since I stumbled onto you on the internet. My guest today is Mr. Jay Washington.
I appreciate that. I'd just like to say your intro to your podcast sounded like Zoltan when they brought him in and dude, where's my car? I just expected to see Hal Sparks come out of no damn where. So I was like, Zoltan with rain jackets on and shit. That's all I expected.
I love it, and I love that you even referenced that movie off the bat. That's the perfect way to start the show, is with that kind of reference. Oh, I haven't seen that movie in a minute.
I think I ran across it maybe like 2.5 weeks ago, and I think I was only because I had time to kill before I had to go somewhere, and I was like, I could watch this movie just to remember how dumb it is, just to remember how dumb this shit is. I could watch it, but I was like, nah, I gotta go. And I was pissed.
Yeah, it's a classic, and I think that's one of those ones that's kind of grown over time, that cult flavor a little bit. It's a good one, and yeah. So we're gonna be talking some good movies as well. Some that are, depending on how you look at them, could be cult classics a little bit, but these are just sci-fi classics, really, in general.
They're really. I mean, I don't even know if you can just classify them as sci-fi classics, because when you say classic films, these are films. I think the general definition of classics should be changed.
I think it should be changed, but it's also like the movies that we're going to be talking about, they almost have this like class of their own.
They're
of these
cult
movies
classics.
That don't exist
They're
anymore.
Cult classics. They fall in that category.
But that 90s action sci-fi is a genre that is its own thing.
Its own thing, and it's done.
It's led by these superstar action heroes. Like, these are like, that was its own thing, like this 9-year period, and man,
and the movies we're talking about had the guys at the forefront of it.
Yeah, like these are some of the top ones. So before we get into the movie stuff, we'll get to that here in a minute. But to introduce Mr. Jay Washington, the opening segment of my show is it's called "Who the Hell Are You?" I follow you and I keep up with you. I follow and keep up with you on Twitter and whatnot. And maybe everybody listening doesn't. So we need to know from you, though. I'll give you the chance to explain to people, who the hell are you? What are you doing?
Cool.
Like, what do you do?
Oh, I'm an average black dude that just hangs around. That is literally what I tell people all the time. They be like, who are you? I'm an average black dude that just hang. Stand-up comedian, actor. I've done a lot of movies and TV and commercials and stuff. Former pro wrestler for 15 years, probably getting back in the ring soon. Go figure. Host, Screen Junkies News, AfterBuzz, Collider, the Movie Trivia Showdown. What else? A father of 2 kids.
Okay.
Yeah, one is both are breaking me out of my pockets. What else? Yeah, just
so yeah, you're kind of like me. You're a Renaissance man. You're just busy. You're making the rounds.
I just try to make the rounds on every way I can, because I have so many different talents in a sense, and so many different things I love to do and love to be involved in. So I do them all. I'm not like, well, I can wait to do this. I'm like, well, I do it all right now.
Yeah. The way I always explain it to people is, it's like, okay, here's the thing, like. I'm not like amazing at anything. I'd say, like, I don't have my one thing that's like, this is my shit, this is my jam. I'm really good at a lot of things.
I tell people all the time.
So as much as I can do, and it's like every time I've been talking to people out here, they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, stand up, podcasting, I write reviews, I'm doing this, just a little bit of everything. Enough to stay busy and
for me to stay busy and relevant.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the biggest thing, especially being out here in Los Angeles. You got to do shit that keeps you relevant, because there's always a new batch of people that come in here. There's always something new that happens. So you could be hot shit one minute, and next thing you know, you bumped out and you have zero idea what happened.
And you got to do it fast.
You got to do it quickly, too.
Because everybody wants the first, everybody wants the freshest. You got to do it fast.
I'll tell you something real funny. This is still a hilarious story I tell a lot of my friends to this day. So one of my biggest things used to be, like maybe 2 years ago, was I said I never wanted to be internet famous, because I saw all the Instagram people, all the Vine stars, shit like that. Like, man, I don't want to be Instagram famous. I'm a goddamn comedian. I'm a stand-up. I tell these jokes. I act. I do all this other shit. who knew that I get involved with Screen Junkies and then Collider and become internet famous? And I was like, what? Who knew? I was like, who knew? And then they were like, well, how do you feel about it? I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's cool though. It's amazing because you develop a fan base of something completely different that you didn't expect. Mm-hmm. Because when I started in stand up, I was always under the impression of you had to be a star or get people to know you from stand up.
Yeah, word of mouth usually is
word
how
of
it
mouth,
works
right.
with comedy.
You can transition into film and television, but as a whole, people need to know you about your stand up. You know what I'm saying? And if they don't know that, that's going to be the issue. But luckily, it's been great all the way around.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I came across you. The very first movie fight you did.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody loved that episode. I remember, like, we were all tweeting. We're just like, who the hell is this guy? Like, where did they? And like, even Andy was just like, man, we just ran into this guy randomly. And he came on the show, and then you just were killing it. And then next thing you know, you're popping up there. You're popping up Collider, all the good stuff.
Yeah, man. It's amazing too, because I was telling somebody the other day as well. I talk to a lot of people, so you always hear me saying, I was telling somebody the other day, because I was. You realize how small yet big the internet community is. You realize how interconnected it is. Because I knew through Screen Junkies, somebody said, why don't you come check out, the movie Trailer Slowdown, come down and hang out at Collider. I was like, cool. I go down there, I'm like, oh, y'all do everything. Oh, it's everybody from everything here. So it was so cool seeing that. Like, you see it at Screen Junkies too, but Collider seems to be a bigger hodgepodge, as I'm noticing. Like, I know what Screen Junkies does, they bring people in, but when it comes, especially when it comes to the Schmodown, it's always everybody from everywhere. IGN, Rotten Tomatoes, Screen Junkies. I'm like, oh, this is how you meet everybody.
Yeah.
This is how you meet everybody. So I love it.
And that's kind of how it started with me. It's been a small trickling effect, but kind of like you say with like the internet famous thing, it's like I didn't really start paying attention to my social media as much until 8 months ago. Before it was like I was there, but I wasn't like using it as the vehicle it is today. So it's like I started doing that, and then had Roka on the podcast not too long ago, and like that was kind of the first person I had like in this group, in this crew, and that hodgepodge of people. Dude. And then just started meeting people. Met Alicia and Perry at the Overlook Film Festival, and then so like me and Alicia, we talk, and then I auditioned for the fan position for SJ News.
Oh, dope!
Whenever that happened,
yeah.
And I auditioned, didn't get it, but I was shortlisted. Roth emailed me and then was just like, hey, we really enjoyed your auditions. We're gonna keep an eye on you. Like, when you come out to LA, let us know. So boom, bam, boom.
Sweet. So
just gotta. It's a weird thing. I was talking to a friend yesterday, about doing this whole thing and branding yourself and getting your name out there. Because like you said, you gotta stay relevant.
You have to. And I hate this chair that I'm sitting in that's squeaking like it's a rocker. But anyway,
did you want to switch chairs?
It's gonna rock. It's gonna squeak regardless. We'll deal with it. Hopefully, it won't sound too bad. They're like, "Who in the fuck is this? Somebody's doing on the bass?"
Squeaky. I should see. I have a chair like in my room where I like actually record, and like there's a chair that people always want to sit in because I have like my recording chairs, and they're like, "No, can I sit in that one?" I'm like, "No, that's a squeak chair. You can't have that one. You can't have that one." So this is the mobile.
That's the mobile one. The thing is, it's like you said with social media too. Then I started posting like I draw, and everybody was like, "You fucking draw too?" I was like, yeah, what's the big deal? Because to me, it was nothing. To me, it's nothing. It's like, yeah, I draw. Everybody's like, yo, you're fucking good. I'm like, thank you, but I think it's just me just bullshitting.
That's how I am with dancing. I'm the same way. Like we went to this Facebook summit, and we're doing networking. We're doing all stuff. I'm talking about all the things I do. And then, once the after party hit, and, I'm not, like, I was maybe I was about 6 out of 300 people that were black at this party. Okay. So you know how it's going. Everybody's waiting around for the Cupid Shuffle and shit.
Of course.
And I was like, no, I came to this after party to dance. And people are like, oh shit. They're like, do you like dance for anything? I'm like, nah. I was like, for me. It's just like me. I dance for me. That's why I dance.
That's right. I dance for my goddamn self. And like when you came in, I was sitting there. You're like, well, what are you working on now? I'm like, Voltron Legendary Defender, just randomly working on it. Just don't care.
Yeah, it's like you could be writing something, could be doing something. But what stuck out to me, because this is what the game is going to be centered around, is you used to be a wrestler. And you're getting back in the ring. I've been noticing that on Twitter. You've been training up.
Well, so what happened was I was a wrestler for 16 years. Traveled all over through the indie circuit and stopped wrestling after a while. I had a neck injury that was like either I stopped wrestling or I risked messing up my neck more. And I was like, I got kids. I can't take that chance. But luckily, I worked for a chiropractic company who taught me how to do neck exercise to get the curve in my neck back and everything perfectly. So that was cool. Recently, Open Mike Eagle, a homie of mine, he was like, yo, I'm doing this music video. He's like, I want to know if you would like to be a wrestler in the video. If not, could you recommend me anybody? So, of course, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm like, I'll do it. And then I got my buddy Human Tornado, who, for people who are familiar with the movie Nacho Libre, that's El Snowflake.
Oh, okay.
It's one of my personal buddies.
Oh, cool.
So I got him in it. And so we go to Millennium Pro Wrestling out here in Moore Park, California. And I was like, okay, I'm putting on the gear. Hadn't put it on a minute, put on the boots.
It just felt good.
It was not yet. It was like, all right, let me hit these ropes. Oh shit, there go that feeling with these ropes. But I was like, all right, I ran the ropes for a minute, and then I took my first bump. And I was like, oh, this ring feels like heaven. And I kept taking bumps, and they was like, what's going on? I was like, I kind of am scratching the itch I've had.
I'm having a moment here. That's what's happening.
So, so that happened and whatnot. But it's been cool because like now they want me to come do some stuff with them. I said, let's possibly talk about it in September. Let's start in September. So it's been more so getting the physical training, going back, and then get ready to start getting back in the ring and ring training. And I'm not going to do it super full time like I used to because I ain't got the fucking time to no more.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to be able to do it every single weekend, 3-4 nights a week. I don't have time anymore, unfortunately. So now I can do it now and just have a little fun with it and keep it as something to add to the resume as I'm out here.
Yeah, there you go. It's just staying busy. Music videos can always lead to stuff too. It's just more things.
Around here in Hammers, pumps in the bump too.
More things. So the game that we're gonna play to open up with, we're talking your wrestling. We're talking these '90s action stars. So off the top of your head, we got the classics. You got the Stallone. You got the Schwarzenegger. You got Van Damme. You got Steven Seagal, depending on who you ask. You got
and how much beer is involved.
And then we got some of the newbies. We got the Jason Stathams.
Yeah.
There's not as many these days, but you got the Jason Stathams. Keanu Reeves is getting back into it as well. You got all these people. So you're a wrestling guy. Do you do tag team usually, or are you usually a solo guy?
Both, but I made my name as a tag team wrestler. Myself and Willie the Bomb Richardson. We were collectively known as Team Dammit. Then we're part of a foursome. It's 4 members in the ring, a manager and a valet. We're all known as the Soul Touchers. The Soul Touchers is C-Red as the manager, Diamond was the valet, myself, Willie the Bomb Richardson, Acid Jazz, and now Impact Wrestling superstar Marche Rocket. So all of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that works out perfect because we're gonna do a little tag team match, a hypothetical tag team match.
Perfect.
So we're gonna do ourselves here.
Okay.
Even though you have a slight weight advantage on me, but I'm scrappy. Don't worry.
Okay.
So you're gonna pick your partner depending on you gotta think about your strengths.
For 90s action stars.
Yeah, 90s action stars, and we're going off like their film like selves. So think about the movies they've done and their skill set. So first of all, who's gonna be your partner?
Wesley Snipes.
Ooh, good pick. That's a good pick. I'm glad you picked somebody a little bit smaller because my first pick, I was like, he might be a little too small, but you picked somebody a little smaller. My pick, I am definitely go with JVD.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I'm going Jean-Claude Van Damme. Okay. Yes, sir.
The man who screwed himself out of the Predator role. Gotcha.
Hey, I'm not saying that he's the smartest one, but I mean, if I want somebody in my corner, though,
you want the muscles from Brussels.
He's got the element of surprise to him. That's what I like about JVD. He's sneaky.
Yeah, but you know what? Wesley Snipes has, we saw his martial arts abilities in many films. We've seen his action star potential. We've seen his comedic voice. We've seen different levels. We've seen his dramatic side as well.
So he's going to be able to play the character parts too in this.
All of it, yeah.
Wesley Snipes would kill some promotions.
He definitely would.
I think he would kill some promotions. Debatably, Wesley Snipes didn't get enough action roles in the 90s, I don't think.
I think he didn't. I think they were trying to transition him to do more comedic stuff when they found out he had a comedic voice. You could start seeing from when, Demolition Man was an action role. But he had the charisma over. He had. White Man Can't Jump was a comedic role.
Oh, yeah.
Tu Wong Fu, comedic role. It was more comedic roles they started to give him because they like, oh, you have this personality. Now, granted, when he went to Blade, it was serious. But
he was getting back to his roots.
It was back to his roots, but it was still times he would have little jabs and quips here and there.
Oh, yeah. The one-liners in Blade are epic.
Are epic if you pay attention to them, so yeah.
So okay, so you got Wesley Snipes, you got the charisma, but he does got the martial arts. Like, dude's a badass.
Yes,
dude is a badass. JVD though, that man, like I said, you look in Bloodsport, you look at the range he has, because you got Bloodsport, you got Time Cop, you got only the Strong. He's got doing a little Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He's got this range.
He wasn't in Only the Strong. Mm-hmm. Where is he in Only the Strong?
In Only the Strong.
Where is he in Only the Strong?
That's the main dude.
That's Mark Dacascos.
No.
Yes, that's Mark Dacascos. That is
the bad guy. Yeah,
that's not Jean-Claude Van Damme.
You're joking.
Mark Dacascos is the main guy in Only the Strong.
I got the Googles up.
Yes, Mark Dacascos is the main dude in Only the Strong.
Is he really?
Yes, it's not Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Have I been living a lie my entire life?
You might have. Yes, you might have.
Have I been living? Holy moly! Woo.
Yeah, go ahead.
Got JVD.
Just go ahead and confirm that for the people with the holy moly. Just confirm that real quick.
But guys, I just had a come to Jesus moment with this movie, because that movie meant a lot to my childhood.
And mine too.
But man, it's okay. I still got JVD.
Okay, you still have, okay.
Because God, what's that? He has a really underrated one they did kind of late. It's the one where he's escaping from the like Russian prison they got put in. Like opening scene, his wife gets killed, and then they take him away, and then they like ship him to Russia.
I'm trying to think which Jean-Claude Van Damme movie was that?
I got pulled up. I was thinking a kickboxer though. JVD does got kickboxing too.
Yes, he does. He's a kickboxer. Yeah,
he's got the range.
He's got kickboxing. So when you do, he has the range.
I don't know. I can't find it, but he's got one where he has to escape from this prison, Russia, and then there's a big brawling competition within the prison.
Okay.
So I forget which one it is, but all I'm trying to say is JVD, I think, has a little bit of a wider range as far as a fighter versus Wesley Snipes.
It's because we've seen more of a fighter range from Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Damme was only booked in films because of his fighting. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But Jean-Claude Van Damme's martial arts abilities are what kept him working. Again, when I brought up Predator earlier, he got booked and he was mad because he thought he was going to make the monster do kick flips and back flips and roundhouses. And it's like, nah, that's not what you're going to do. But we can show you, we can make other movies. And then because of Jean-Claude Van Damme and all his kick movies, then we started getting those crazy ass 90s action movies with the 90s montage music all the time. But that's another story. I just think, yeah, it really was never Jean-Claude Van Damme's acting. It was only just his martial arts. Well, more so his martial arts as opposed to acting.
That's true. I don't know. I think I got enough charisma to cover the promotion part for the two of me and JVD. Because, yeah, he's never been the best. The movie I was thinking of is In Hell.
Ah, okay.
Is in the early 2000s. It was one of his later ones. Lawrence Taylor is one of the co-stars in it.
What?
Yes. This is a glorious movie. Yes, he plays one of the main inmates in the movie.
Wait, Lawrence Taylor as in Hall of Fame NFL linebacker.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Yes, sir. I think it's one of his underrated. I don't even know if this one went to. It might have been just a straight to DVD.
I'm not surprised.
It is released straight to DVD. This is one of the best straight to DVDs. Though.
A lot of Jean-Claude Van Damme films recently, or like a lot of action stars recently, but even Wesley had straight to DVD films too. So.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not as big of a wrestling guy, but give me what would be the storyline of this tag team?
All right. So tag teams. So you have a tag team. You have two guys, two girls, guy and girl, whatever you put together. They have a common goal, what they're looking out for, what they want to do. And so if you would go for the backstory of my team, it would be, Wesley's the veteran. He's been coming up, but he's got the big young stud in me. And we're going to take over the division. The division is movies and film and television and Hollywood. And that's what we're fighting for.
Okay. And I'd say our background is we're both unknown. People, I mean, for the context of this, we're both newcomers.
Okay.
We're both newcomers. We're both a little bit unpredictable. You don't really know what you're going to get. And I think that's what gives us the is what puts us out there. You don't know what you're gonna get from me. We just met today. You don't know what you don't know what I got going on for me.
Fair.
You don't know what JVD's gonna hit you with. You don't know if he's gonna come at you with the Muay Thai. You don't know if he's gonna hit you with the kickboxing.
I also don't know if he's gonna do breakdancing moves like he did in Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo. Since you want to bring up Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Hey, I mean, if we're bringing up the dancing skills, Wesley might get sidetracked by a basketball court somewhere.
Don't judge him, okay? You know, he might have a shot that's pretty. It's so pretty. You know, Sidney Dean, okay? Also, I will have to say, I have to confess a little bit. The reason Wesley Snipes was always my choice is because I've always been a fan and because I got to work with him.
Oh, okay.
I got to work with him in the film, so...
You want to humble brag a little bit real quick?
Oh, you must didn't know. I'm in the Spike Lee joint Chirac.
Oh, my God. Wait, you're in Chirac.
I'm Wesley Snipes' right-hand man in Chirac.
Holy shit. I love Chirac. I'm the dude
with the orange headband.
Holy shit.
I'm the dude that had the conversation with him that told him, let's talk about this man-to-man, eye-to-eye patch. That's me.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, my God. Now I'm so rewatching this on the plane back because... That's like one of my favorite movies of 2015. I think I had it at like number 12. Like,
thank
for real.
you, man. We appreciate that.
I absolutely loved it. It was one of Spike Lee's best in a long time.
It was an honor working with Spike on. Let me see. Where's the picture?
Like, oh man, it's like the movie could have used even more Snipes in it. Like,
and because if you think about it, it's my scene with Wesley that causes the whole change in his behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And like we have the scene with Dave Chappelle in the strip club and everything. So yeah.
Man. That is incredible.
So that's why Wesley, and that was the thing I tell everybody. Wesley has always been like a role model, was always a role model in what I loved in film. Mm-hmm. And then when I got the chance to work with him in Chirac, it was the most surreal thing ever.
Well, look at that, Jay Washington.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's me and Wesley.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah, this is from the movie. This is a tweet from the Twitter of the movie.
That is awesome. What'd you do the first thing you met him? You were just kind of like.
So we actually met before we got on set. I was actually working on another film, Imperfections. It was my last day filming, and when I got wrapped up, John Cusack, who's in the film as well, set up something for the cast to meet up at the Soho House in Chicago. So I was like, yo, I'm heading straight over there. So I go over there. And everybody's upstairs, and everybody it's John sitting there, Lala sitting down, Michelle Michino's in there, Tiana Paris, Wesley Snipes. So I just sit down, you know, like, what's up, Wes? Like, Jay, what's going on? I talk to everybody. Steve Harris walks in. I'm like, yo, I'm sitting in the back of my mind. I'm like, oh my God, I'm at the table with all these stars. I don't believe this. And it's like, yo, just be cool. You belong here. And so just, whew. And so we just, you know, it was cool. And then next couple of days, we had to go sit down. We had to start having our table reads. So the table read made it even more surreal because at the head of the table, you get Spike Lee in the middle, of course. You got Kevin Wilmot on his right, who's the co-writer of the movie. Mm-hmm. Then you got his first AD on the left. Then you got Wesley Snipes, me, my boy Corey Hendricks. And across, you got Nick Cannon, my boy Eldorado Jones, and then another cat, and it's like, yo, we're right here at the head of this table. And I can even go further down, like maybe 6 seats down is Angela Bassett. And I'm like, I'm in this thing.
Did you see Sam Jackson?
Yeah, I talked to Sam. I talked to Sam when he was on set. Super cool dude. Man, it was another icon. Yeah. So yeah, that's why Wesley was kind of my. It's like I said, I even told him, I was like, we had scenes where we were together like all day and night. So we talked and got to know each other. And I was like, yo, I straight up told him, I was like, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Like, for like 30 seconds, I bitched out when I met you. He started laughing. He was like, Jay, you stupid. I was like, yo.
You got to for like just a minute.
I was like, hey, fam. I said, Passenger 57, Demolition, man. I started dropping movies and shit. I was like, white men can't jump, blah, blah, blah. He was like, man, I appreciate that. I was like, no, nigga, I appreciate you. And so,
oh, man.
And so we talked and everything, and we kicked it and everything, and it was just so cool, man. He's a super cool dude, man. I was honored to work with him, and so that's why, like, if I could do any projects going further, I would love to work with him in more of a capacity. It was just to spend 2.5 weeks working alongside Wesley Snipes was the most greatest thing ever in my life.
Yeah, I think you got me sold on the tag team match. I think y'all, because I mean, it's gonna be too much for you. It's just gonna be too much fun. And I mean, my Wesley Snipes icon story, because I mean, I grew up on the Blade movies. You know,
yes.
Blade movies came out right at the perfect time for me, and I was just my shit. I was just like, man, I love Wesley Snipes. I even cut a jacket that I had. I put a hole in that
to put a sword.
To put a sword. No joke. And and between that and the Matrix, made me find a big old black trench coat. It was glorious. So that'll be the end of the game, and I'll kind of transition into the movie portion because we're talking about one of Wesley Snipes' films. Real quick before we get into the movies, just a few housekeeping things. Make sure you guys are leaving 5-star iTunes reviews. The reviews not only pat my ego, they help people find the show as well. Let's get those iTunes reviews in. And if you leave a 5-star iTunes review, it gets read on the D's and T Money Show every other Friday. So make sure you get those iTunes reviews. I like waking up in the morning. I like reading them, get my cup of coffee, reading compliments about myself because that's just a thing you do. Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, man, listen.
Yeah, you come through those tweets and you're just like, yeah,
like, yo, I go through my Twitter, and I'm even that dude that'll respond to you because I know a lot of people will just hit a like and be done.
Oh yeah,
I'll reply back. I'm like, yo, I don't know what you thought. You thought there's some people who talk shit and they was like, oh, you thought this was one of the people that you was gonna talk shit to who wasn't gonna say nothing back. Surprise!
Yeah, but I be looking, I be Googling myself. I do it. It's a weekly thing for me.
Man,
so yeah,
listen.
get those iTunes reviews in because it just helps out the show though big time as well. And another thing that would help the show is money. Check out the Patreon account, guys. Patreon.com/Deezus Take the Reel. $1 a month can help make the show bigger, better, longer, all that good stuff, and we can do some more fun stuff. So make sure you guys are checking that out. You get some sweet perks on there as well, some exclusive content and a monthly Skype session depending on how much you donate. So so donate to Patreon, chat with your boy, and let's get this thing going so that way Deezus Take the Reel can keep going and doing bigger, better things. Anyways, now that I'm done asking for attention and money, let's go ahead and get into the movies. So, Jay, you picked Total Recall.
Yeah, the 1990 Total Recall.
The 1990 because that's what you have to tell Google, apparently.
Yes.
They always want to hook you up with the Colin Farrell shit.
Because nobody wants to be hooked up with the Colin Farrell shit.
Yeah.
I love the 1990, the original one. The Arnold Schwarzenegger, Rachel Tickerton, Ronnie Cox, Michael Ironside, Sharon Stone film.
So what made you pick this one?
I've been such a fan of this movie since I watched it as a kid, and then when I'm gonna tell my age right now. Total Recall came out. I was 10 years old, and I was not supposed to watch it.
As most good movies that you watch as a kid,
you're not supposed to. I watched it and I loved it. I loved the animatronics with the aliens. I love the different scenes with the whole we're on Earth, but it's the future. It's how it looks when it's the years 2084 or whatever. But then we go to Mars. Mm-hmm. Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't even bland in this movie, too. For him to play two different roles, because he plays two different characters.
This is some of his best acting.
I
really would say that.
It's some of his best acting. Rachel Tickerton was amazing. Sharon Stone was phenomenal. Michael Ironside is
very young Michael Ironside.
Very young Michael Ironside in this. And remember, you got Paul Verhoeven, who directed RoboCop. So he
Starship
Troopers. So you get Ronnie Cox and Michael Ironside, who are in both of these. Mm-hmm. I think Ronnie Cox was even in Starship Troopers, if I'm not mistaken. But you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Probably wasn't. But nonetheless. But it was just, there's so much about this. And in the story to the end where it's like, you still don't know if he was in a dream or not.
Yeah, I was actually I was watching YouTube videos on the way over here because it got me thinking. I mean, it does kind of the same thing that Blade Runner does. You see the influences that it's going to eventually have on the Matrix is a big thing as well. So it's just, but what I loved is, I mean, like I said, this 90s sci-fi action genre, it doesn't exist today. Blending this campiness to it, but at the same time, they're asking high thinking questions. This was a big budget blockbuster before they got stupid, when it's let's not just have dumb fun. Let's have smart fun.
It was 60 million, 50 to 60
at
million.
the time, though. It was
that's what I'm saying, at the time was but a bananas amount of money. Mm-hmm. It was a bananas amount of money. And so to get the production of what you got off of it, again, the sense of what would the core of Mars look like? Mm-hmm. What would turn the core of Mars? To make a reactor type of looking thing where the core of Mars is ice. And even
the effects with the stomach is
effects with Quado.
It holds up so well.
The effects with Quado still hold up to this day. The Benny effect with the hand, with just the basic puppet hand that folded over and how he did it. the driller machine. It was just different things they put into it.
They literally had everything. They built sets, but they had CGI. They had puppetry.
They knew how to do it just right. It was the right blend of everything. It wasn't like, oh, this is too much. Again, the exploding head is one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah. I mean, the opening scene is a great one where the mask breaks and his face blows up. That's a fun one. Pulling the tracker out of his brain is even kind of a fun
thing out
scene.
His nose. Yeah. Things like that. These are like practical effects in a sense, but at the same time, they're probably they're puppets and different things. But it's like, yo, you see these things. And you're like, okay, I get it.
Like there were no tricks to cover it up. It was like you get presented with it, and it's like they don't, unfortunately they don't do that enough. Also, these days.
The highest body count in a movie ever, probably.
There is a lot of bodies dropped. Like I said, it teeters this line. You got the sci-fi, this dream aspect of it, but then it's also a classic action thriller for a minute. You get Schwarzenegger. He gets to do some sweet one-liners as always. This isn't an action one-liner, but my favorite one-liner is when a chick reaches down and grabs him. And she
what have you been feeding this thing? Blondes.
That is one of my favorite Arnold delivery moments ever.
That was Rachel Tickerton when he was in The Last Resort. And she's like, what have you been feeding this thing? He's blondes.
Like, it's crazy. I've heard stories about how Arnold Schwarzenegger is a good improviser. Like, that's one of his best things. I'm sure that had to have been one of them because nobody else wrote that in for him.
If whoever wrote it should never, if they wrote that in the script, that person should never go without a job.
Right?
Because you wrote the most epic line that Arnold Schwarzenegger probably would ever say next to "I'll be back." Mm-hmm. What you been feeding this thing? Blondes.
It's crazy, and but I think what the thing about it, why Schwarzenegger stands out so well in this, is he championed for this movie to happen. So basically, James Cameron was attached to it at one point, didn't happen, and then one of the other big directors was attached to it at the time as well, and it fell through with both of them. I think it was Spielberg, but then Spielberg ended up doing Minority Report down the road, which is kind of an adaptation.
Kind of in the same wheelhouse.
In the same wheelhouse. But so then it fell through. Schwarzenegger heard about the script. He read it. He really liked it and convinced a company to buy the film rights for it. And then he had final say over who the director was and chose Paul Verhoeven.
Which, again...
So, this all wouldn't have happened without Schwarzenegger. So it's like he really cared about this project, and you could tell. He has the charisma in it. He's doing the action. He does a little bit of everything.
And it wasn't one of those roles where you get somebody who's like, all right, I want this movie to happen so I can do this film. And then you see it and you're like, oh, you just didn't step outside of yourself at all.
Oh, no. And
you just wanted to be just all in the spotlight. And even though he's the focus of everything, everybody else around him shines.
Yes, this isn't just I watch this because it's a Schwarzenegger film.
Right.
You watch it because you can appreciate the world building that had and everything about it, all the weirdness to
everything. The characters and the settings all shine in this. And that's why I picked this film, because again, it's one of those films you can still watch to this day. Granted, if you watch it on regular television, you're not going to get all the effects. They'll edit it down like hell to give you a PG-13 version, because the movie was originally gonna be X.
Yeah, they drop a lot of fucks.
They had to cut angles. They were like, it was so violent. They was like, all right, we got to cut 2 less deaths here.
And it's a problem they had with RoboCop too.
Same thing. RoboCop was almost X. They was like, that's why have you seen the director's cut
of which one?
RoboCop.
No. Or wait, yes, I have.
The boardroom scene. Where the first time Ed 209 goes berserk and shoots dude up, that's like a 5-minute shooting just alone.
How many bullets? The bullet count is really high. Somebody counted it on how many bullets
that Ed 209 shot alone.
Yeah.
And that's just in one scene. But that's to the direction of Paul Verhoeven. So, you get things like that.
Yeah, and then, like I said, the biggest thing for me is when you think about, the summer blockbusters now, we got Transformers last night and things like that, and people talk about going to blockbusters and enjoying a theater going experience, but for dumb fun. And I hate that.
I think Transformers the last night has its ship has sailed. It sailed its course. I think Michael Bay, hopefully Paramount learns, we did what we could and we beat this dead horse long enough. The first one was great because of course Spielberg was attached to it too.
The first one is great.
The first one is great, and it gave us something we had never seen before. We finally saw the live action versions of the Transformers. We were great. Megatron. Only thing was like, oh, Megatron doesn't turn into a pistol. Okay, whatever. But you got Optimus. You got Bumblebee. You got all these people.
I mean, we got everything.
We got everything. You were good. You get Age of the Fallen. You were like, all right.
They start getting a little wonky.
And then when they fucked up Devastator, everybody was like,
and then they're like, okay, we're done.
That's it. Then you go Dark Side of the Moon. You're like, all right, y'all playing. Y'all just doing
trying
shit.
to do some conspiracy.
Y'all doing too much shit to be doing it. Then you go Age of Extinction. That was nothing but a giant billboard for 2.5 hours. And then so at what point when they thought, no, we're going to do the last night. We're going to call it the last one and everybody will go see it. No,
and that's just the state of franchises and these blockbusters now. It's like, but before, you could have these blockbusters where you go have fun, but you're also left with things to think about, you know? It's
things
like,
to think about it and want
still
more.
One of the best ambiguous endings ever. I think I got it figured out. Like, what's your theory? I think I got it figured out pretty well because it's very close to Inception almost. It
is. I'll be honest. It's been 27 years since this movie's come out. Every time I see it, I am still trying to wonder, is he in a dream?
I think he is in the dream.
I think he's actually still in recall.
Because the biggest thing is if you break down the scene before they implant the memories in him. So I think the whole malfunction, that's the start of the memories.
Yeah, the blue sky on Mars and everything.
And the blue sky on Mars.
Yeah, and that was the thing. It was like once he starts having the shit go wrong, that's when I started thinking, yeah, that's the dream.
And like even because I think whenever the guy says, ooh, that's new, I feel like he's talking about also, like I said, like at the beginning, he freaks out thinking that, you know, we think the freak out is actually happening, but I think that's the start of the dream.
That's the start. That sounds about right. That sounds about the secret agent portion. That sounds about right. I think it is. I do think it is a dream, though.
The only thing that tips me off on why it wouldn't be, though, is we still see conversations that like Michael Ironside is having with people and stuff. Why would we be seeing these memories that Arnold's not even seeing? That's where I'm like, why are we seeing this other than for it to make a little bit more sense?
Because if we saw only the stuff that he gets introduced to, everybody he interacts with, then it's totally.
But we're seeing stuff away from him too,
stuck completely away from it.
So that's what makes it interesting.
Because that wouldn't be his memory.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like,
okay, I get you on that point. Yeah, because that wouldn't be his memory.
That's what makes this movie fun. You know, you're left thinking about it. And like I said, I finished watching, and then on the way over here, I just went straight to YouTube videos. I was like, all right, I need to figure some stuff out. I don't know, but great pick. I really enjoyed that pick. So it was a pretty easy comparison for me. We're gonna stay in the same vein. And I've been looking for an excuse to watch a Demolition Man for the longest time.
I'm surprised when you told me you had not watched.
It was a blind spot for me.
That literally, for you to be in this industry, to do what you do, and again, to have the discussion we've had and to say, you know, I never watched Demolition Man before then. What?
I'm only human. I can only get to so many movies at so many times.
That's the excuse we're going to use. I'm only human.
Yeah.
Demolition Man has been out for years, decades.
Oh, I have even worse blind spots than that. I mean, if I tell you some of my other blind spots, you might walk out on this recording.
I might walk out if I tell you some of mine. They're like, wait, how have you not seen it?
Exactly.
I'm like, listen.
But I feel it was a fun one. Like I said, people have been telling me how much I love this. I fucking love Wesley Snipes because, you know, Blade movies are my jam. If you've listened to a few episodes of this podcast, we mention Blade on almost every episode. Like,
Blade 1 and 2 are the best. Blade 3 was I don't give a fuck anymore.
I still like Blade 3. We have a Blade trilogy / Logan trilogy. It's a lost episode that we have recorded. It will air at some point. But we have an episode where we break down both trilogies, and it's fantastic.
I
was like, I need more Wesley Snipes in my life.
It was just that when you saw in Blade trilogy, after you heard the backstories, how he was like, man, fuck this film. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do promotion.
Yeah, like, most of the stand-ins do the shit for him because he was just like, I'm not about it.
I'm not here for this, you know. And then you start seeing the way they took the script and centered the focus around Jessica Alba and
Whistler's storyline,
and then the whole Ryan Reynolds. I was like,
Yeah, it was a weird departure, but at the same time, there's a lot of things I really enjoy about Blade Trinity too.
yeah, I mean, the fact you get to see Dominic Purcell as Dracula, and then you're like, hey, that's the dude that's going to end up going to prison, and then end up going to be a dude named Heatwave on Legends of Tomorrow. That's a whole nother story.
He's had a very interesting career, but yeah, that's a whole other podcast episode. The Dominic Purcell's legacy.
Career.
So yeah, we're gonna talk some Demolition Man. You got Stallone in here, and this is also one of my new favorite Stallone performances. Him as John Spartan is it's one of his more different roles, I think. But I love the backstory and the rivalry between him and Simon Phoenix. It's very reminiscent of a Batman Joker kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like it carries on
Really
throughout the
is.
ages. And the thing is, I love how they showed what the 90s in LA was.
Mm-hmm.
It was riots, it was fire, it was just chaos. And then when you see it's certain little elements like the pilot, Zachary Lamb, the black guy, who ends up after he gets frozen, showing back up later. And it's like, somebody was thinking.
They did so this movie, like I said, we were talking about this before recording, is so relevant today. That's what I was tweeting about when I was watching this movie too. I was just like, I haven't seen something that's relevant to like what's going on now. Like it's like almost scary, with the level of control that they're going for and just all these different things that are going on, and where you think society should be, by this time in the future.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, but the core of the movie is, you got John Spartan, who is awesome, just a badass, but then Simon Phoenix, one of the best villains of all time, because he's in it for the shits and gigs for the most part.
He's one of those villains who
he's just there because he wants to cause mayhem.
I'm an agent of chaos almost.
And he's an agent of chaos. Like the first thing he does when he gets unfrozen, I need a gun. Like that's literally the first thing he looks for.
I don't want to eat. I don't want to go have sex. I don't want to go sleep anywhere.
I want to go loot and get
a gun. First of all, let's get to the fact that the code, the password to unlock his cups was teddy bear. And when he said it was teddy bear. It was the way he said it. And then proceeded to kill everybody. And in fact, he was just going on a ambiguously ridiculous murdering spree. Because he was just like, I'm not even breaking bones. I'm killing everybody.
Like, he is throwing people through glasses. He's ripping eyes out. Simon Says die.
I think that was the best part about it, too. Doing the Simon Says was so dope to me.
Because it really added to that just psychotic aspect to him. Like, he's very unhinged. Like I said, like it's really weird. Like the Batman Joker parallels I got through this movie. Because like John Spartan, it's like he's so relentless and he knows he's doing the right thing, but at the same time he's taking the wrong course of action to do it.
The Joker's Joker has being Phoenix is, I have so much fun toying with you, no matter what.
Or just like when he just references, like, we're supposed to do this for forever.
Yes.
Like, that's something that the Joker's always said, like, we're just bound to do this for the rest of our lives, back and forth in this endless circle. And, like, that's what, Simon Phoenix is like, man, they thawed you out just to get me. Like, this is never going to end between us.
This is never going to end.
And, the introductory scene where Phoenix is figuring out the HAL system and he's, like, just keeps cussing and, getting all the papers. But then you see John Spartan do the same thing because he wants toilet paper.
Because we still haven't understood the 3 seashells thing, which somebody just tried to explain to me, how do you do it? I was like,
yeah, I have no idea.
Supposedly, this is what I've heard, and I don't know who the hell figured this shit out. You take 2 seashells to pull it out, and the other seashell to scoop the remnants. Who in the fuck sat back and was like, yo, this is how you gonna use 3 seashells? Shouts out to Rob Schneider in that movie for just giggling. He doesn't know how to use 3 seashells. Nobody fucking knows how to use the 3 seashells.
Yeah, I think that is definitely one of the ongoing mysteries of film pieces. Just, how the hell do the 3 seashells work? So you mentioned Rob Schneider already, which is a funny person to show up in this movie. And this is one of my favorite Sandra Bullock performances. She is so funny. And
she just has fun in this movie.
She has so much fun. Like, and she's really is what taps us into the reality now, but at the same time she's obsessed with the 90s, so it's like that cool connector as well, She's obsessed with the past, and she's obsessed with the past and the oldies, which are the 90s. But she lives in the future, and she's just like,
Like, especially John Spartan, he like, yo, I'm from the 90s. This is what we do. Like, yo, life is life. And she's so obsessed about it, but when he trying to show us certain 90s things, like having sex, and she's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
She's what the idea of the 90s is, like, the common theme of it, which is really interesting, especially with people that are obsessed with nostalgia these days. I mean, fucking Stranger Things. Everybody's just like, I'm in the 80s now, too. I miss the 80s so much.
You know what? I'll say this in regard to that, and I'll just leave it at that. The only people who are really head over heels about Stranger Things because of the 80s are people who never lived in the 80s.
Yep.
People
exactly. I said people obsessed with nostalgia just
never
because of
never lived in the 80s.
Sake.
Like, I lived in the 80s, and I was like, all right, but who the hell wants to dress like that again?
I was born in 94, and I don't dare call myself a 90s baby. Like, I mean, because I wasn't.
Everybody's
barely
like,
there.
It's like, nah, I get it. I get it. Like, we're good. Like, everybody's like, oh, the Stranger Thing. Yeah, whatever. But back to Demolition Man, it was amazing because also they talked a lot about the evolution of diseases.
Yeah, which was interesting.
She was like, at the AIDS, there was UBT. At the UBT, I was like, oh, shit, is this what's in our future?
She's like, transfer of fluids, never. Like, whenever they're about to do the sex scene.
I was like, whoa. And it's with Sandra Bullock in this movie, I like when she's having fun.
Yes, same here. I love when she has to let loose a little bit.
Just have fun. Because we've got movies that she's been very serious in. We know about those. But movies like this, even Miss Congeniality 1, I won't even so much bring up 2, but this and Miss Congeniality 1, she's having fun in. And you see the fun. Again, this paired up, but I think that this paired her up the first time with her future Miss Congeniality co-star, Benjamin Bratt.
Yep.
Who he is amazing in
Benjamin Bratt's really good in this one.
And I'm going to tell you something. This is what messed my head up about seeing Benjamin Bratt in Demolition Man. Is I just had started watching him in Blood In, Blood Out.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, yo, you were gangbanging, turned into a cop, and now you're playing a silly cop.
He's always kind of played those, like, he's always on one of those sides.
On one of those spectrums,
always a detective or a cop. He's always a badass. Yes, he is. Fashion, always. Just that the cast between it, and it's like the director never even really went on to do much else. I mean,
who directed? Yeah, who directed?
Marco Brambilla. And this is easily his claim to fame. This was his debut movie, and he did 2 more movies. Like, that's it. So it's like he never even really did much.
He probably was like, interesting. I just want to do this. Excess baggage and Districted.
Yeah, but this was his first movie, and it was amazing. Like, why didn't he end up doing more movies, you think?
Excess Baggage had Alicia Silverstone, Benicio del Toro, Christopher Walken, Jack Thompson, Nicholas Turturro, and Harry Connick Jr.
What?
Oh, it was budgeted for 20 mil, only made 14 mil. That still is not that bad.
It's not bad.
In comparison to some other movies.
Oh, and then his other one's not even a movie. He just did a segment in something.
Yeah,
it's a film series.
And that's it. And
that's sad that he never really went on to do much else. Yeah.
I think it goes, again, we're talking about Hollywood, where in Los Angeles, where it's you have to be connected now or highly raved and reviewed about to be directors in consistent projects, because every director we see now is not a big box office director, okay? We're learning this, especially Patty Jenkins had done some things, but nobody really gave her credit. And I hate to say it that way. Now Captain Bigelow is over everything, so she's getting another Oscar this year anyway.
It's kind of the same thing with like Coogler going forward.
Coogler now, is what Coogler I want to go to, because again, when he did Fruitvale Station, it was a nice piece that touched people. It gave people to talk about, saying the situation, what happened with Oscar Grant. Cool. Then he did Creed, and everybody was like,
"Who's this guy again?"
Oh
my god!
Oh, you're for real. And then they said, well, they give it him Black Panther. If Marvel trusts him, he must be somebody. And then we saw the trailer for Black Panther, and everybody was like, yeah, that's pretty much why.
That shit is about to be lit.
I've seen the teaser trailer to Black Panther 189 times.
It's good stuff. But yeah, going back to Demolition Man, but like you said, it's interesting that he just never really went on to do much more, because it seemed like he had so much personality in this movie, this movie, between the world building, between its very weird, the balance between the action, the comedy as well,
To show a world, again, a lot of movies that were based in LA would say LA as a whole, but to say we're going to merge 3 cities together, LA, San Diego, and Santa Barbara. We're going to make one city. We're going to show you what life is like in this entire city. I'm going to have them build out all of this. I'm going to build out the restaurants, the wardrobe. I want the wardrobe to look a certain way. I want people to talk and act a certain way. To be a director and have that vision of what you see for this is amazing. And even it's still influenced in a lot of different ways. And I don't know if people catch on to it. Have you gone into a Walgreens recently?
Yeah.
Have you left and paid attention to what they tell you when you leave?
Be well, is it? Yeah.
Demolition Man.
Huh. That is interesting. And like I said, like with the parallels of today, almost going in a darker route, not getting political here, but you can talk about incompetent cops even.
You definitely can.
Because that's what kind of makes that scene really funny, where they're trying to apprehend Simon Phoenix,
or when
they're trying to tell him what to do, and they're just like, we don't know how to do this,
because we've got rid of aggression, and it's like, lie down on the ground, facing me.
Like, say it again, but with more assertiveness.
With assertiveness. Use the term now. Lie down on the ground, facing me now.
And then they're like, what? Like, Simon Phoenix is kicking all their asses, he's killing people, and like Sandra Bullock's like, why is he doing this?
Why is he so angry?
And it's just like, just because.
I also want to bring up, did you notice when Simon Phoenix has a run in with the cops, right? He's whooping all the cops' ass. Why does the one black cop all of a sudden have to know martial arts? Anybody ever want to bring that up? And he got his ass tagged real quick when he's like, because he just started to fight. And he was like, man, you'll sit your ass down.
Like the one guy that was going to be brave enough, of course.
Got his ass dropped for trying to do martial arts.
I don't know. Wesley Snipes probably convinced them to give that guy a scene. Who knows?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Who knows? But it's just it's a really fun movie. I love when they get to the underground.
I was just about to ask that.
Spartan gets he's like, oh my God, I feel at home. But at the same time, like, this is what you're doing to people and things like that. And it's,
dude, when you find out he ate a rat burger.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, what? This is a rat burger.
Best rat burger I've had. It's so good. Just and then you got
Dennis Leary.
Yeah.
Dennis Leary.
In a very
Dennis Leary.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is the start of Dennis Leary just being Dennis Leary.
This is Dennis Leary being Dennis. There is no character with this, okay? He could have had a character name. This is just Dennis Leary being Dennis Leary in this movie. And it's fun. It works. Again, it's that hybrid of action and comedy.
And just playing to the strengths of your people.
Yeah.
Like you said, Sandra Bullock, she got to have fun in this. You got Wesley Snipes just doing his Wesley Snipes thing.
Just be you.
The perfect combination of his comedy and his action. They got Sylvester Stallone in a really badass role, of course. And it's just like they let the cast do their thing in this, and it made it a lot of fun.
Again, that goes to the director,
it does.
which is surprising that he hasn't done anything more, if he's not alive, he retired, so he can't do it. But to not be doing anything more, when you're like, all right, I see this cast, I can tell from these actors their strengths. Mm-hmm. I'm going to focus on their strengths to make the characters they're playing be stronger and come out in the project. Mm-hmm. And he did that. And
yeah,
great film.
It's like the biggest two things I learned from these two movies, and like talk about them now, is, with sci-fi movies, like, sci-fi is definitely kind of taking a decline. Mm-hmm. And it's like, they don't do these kind of movies anymore, because like sci-fi movies now, it's a combination of, they rely too much on the CGI and all that stuff. It's like all these sci-fi movies, both of them have great practical effects in them and things of that nature. But then, so you got that, but it's like, nobody has fun with sci-fi movies anymore. Like, I love I watched, did you catch Life? The new Jake
I have
Gyllenhaal
not
one?
seen that one.
It's had, mixed responses.
Okay.
But it is a fun sci-fi movie.
Okay.
Like, it's a fun sci-fi horror movie, because does it all make sense? No. Like, do all the characters' motivations make sense? No. But it's like, this is a fun movie, and it's like, people don't have fun with sci-fi anymore.
I think because, like you just said, the inclusion of heavy CGI, the fact that now we know what to do with this. Mm-hmm. And because we know what to do with this, we know exactly what we can do with this. Mm-hmm. We can go so far with this now. And the problem is, you go too far with it. Practical effects still work.
Mm-hmm. They do still work.
Stop. I think you need production studios and even some directors to stop thinking that the paying audience won't accept practical effects. If you do it right, practical effects still work.
I mean, ask George Miller, for Mad Max.
For Mad Max Fury Road.
So if you think you can't do stuff for real in real life anymore, it's like, come on.
Have you seen the behind the scene of that where they show one of the chases without all the explosions and the extras? It's still amazing.
Yeah, I watched that whole thing. It's incredible.
It's incredible. Practical effects still work.
And just this, but also the tone of just like, having a movie that you can have a high thinking theme to it, but still have a lot of fun with it as well. Like Absolutely. It doesn't have to be just so serious, and then the action, just knowing the identity of your movie. Like
it's like you said, it makes you think, because it makes you think with this, if there was a great earthquake that happened in this area, and if everything was merged together, what would life be like? Would there be a utopia that's really annoying? Would it be that? And if you're like, oh, it's a film, it probably would never happen. Well, other things say otherwise, and would it be that? It's that, what do you think will happen? Would there be a population that's forced to live underground because they don't conform? Would there be a police force that has just tried to eliminate any level of escalation to the point where everything you do is this? Can you be fined and everything for whatever you say that's considered offensive? It's like you said, it has potential to be compared to today.
It's like always that mentality of certain, especially in Demolition Man, trying to solve these problems before they happen is kind of, Minority Report eventually takes that on. So it's like, I just miss this genre of film. I miss this. I wish movies would also have the sense of identity that these two movies have as well.
Movies that they try to have identity, but they rely on so much else to give them identity.
I think the closest movies that are doing that now are the John Wick movies.
Oh, it's established.
If you think about the two John Wick movies,
it's what it is.
Those movies know what they're doing. They know what they are. They stick to that tone, and they establish their identity, and they kept it going.
But it's because you realize what the John Wick character was. You knew who you needed main around him. You knew what his motivation was, what his purpose was, and what his goal was, his end game. Because you knew all of that, you were able to set up two great movies and leave a person wanting another one. You haven't burnt anyone out from saying, oh, here we go.
Oh, now it's starting to feel like this movie. Or,
right.
Things like that. So.
You haven't stopped that. So you got that. But the problem is you have those, again, the aforementioned Transformers. You, to some extent, I'll even say it, some people say with Marvel films. Because you do look at a lot of Marvel films, and you're like, all right, I see how this looks. I know what this is. It wasn't until we got Captain America Civil War, the Russo brothers, not even Civil War, the Winter Soldier, that the Russo brothers was like, here's a new look on everything.
And they kind of started doing the genre films in the Marvel and stuff like that.
Right. When the Russo brothers did it, it was a drama thriller with superheroes. It wasn't even
a political thriller.
It was a political.
It's
a political thriller in the Winter Soldier with superheroes thrown in the mix. It's more about the political side about it, and you watch it and you're like, you're ingrained. You're just entrapped and ingrained into this movie. You get other Marvel films, you're like, all right, so what are we trying to hurry and get to? Because
we need to connect this to that. That's
what we're doing.
And,
Ant-Man stands out on its own.
Heist movie with a superhero.
With a superhero. That's all Ant-Man is. A heist movie. Guardians was different because of where you took it. Now we got to see life outside of Earth.
It's a space opera.
It's a space opera.
It's also in that genre realm. So it's like it's the business.
It's the business.
It really is, and it's like that's why so many movies can't afford to do that, because like so many people are now like, well, if I don't do this, then what if it can't set up this? If I want to keep going, blah blah blah.
And the problem with certain genres, to use that term, is because people don't want to have genres anymore. They want to build off a universe now. Everybody wants to build a universe. The dark universe is, exactly. Because it's killing an entire genre. Those classic horror movie monsters were meant to be just that. Now you got Tom Cruise with The Mummy. You get ready to do Dwayne Johnson as the Wolfman.
That was just, oh my goodness. The first 15 minutes of The Mummy is all literally setting up this franchise. You see the Dark Universe logo 3 times. You got Russell Crowe being an exposition machine. Yeah,
and he's turned out to be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Everything's got to be a universe.
Right, instead of being a genre, I want a rom-com that's a rom-com that's not the same romantic comedy movie I've seen a million times before. I want a comedy that's not the same comedy I've seen a million times before. I want a drama that's a drama, but not the same movie. I get it. There's a formula, but let that movie have its own life.
Yeah.
The 90s as a whole, film in the 90s as a whole, the majority of the films in the 90s had life on their own.
Yeah,
The Fugitive,
they started developing personalities. You find these people and you're letting them do what they wanted to do. 80s, people were still making movies the way that they had been doing them.
Right.
That had been working.
And they just added a little fun.
Worked, and we've been doing that. Let's keep doing it. In the 90s, people really started to explore. I mean,
U.S. Marshals is a completely different movie than The Fugitive, and it's the sequel.
that is true. That is a
You get
very
what I'm
good
saying?
example.
It's a completely different movie,
Very different movie.
but it's the sequel to The Fugitive.
And it still works. You still
And it
see
still
the
works.
connections. You still, yeah. Oh, man. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, more people do need to start doing those kind of spiritual sequels, if you will.
Yeah, you let it be what it is. Again, Wesley Snipes was in U.S. Marshals, but you take a movie that you got the formula, right? You had the Tommy Lee Jones, Harrison Ford, you got the Joe Pantoliano, you have all these people based around with the Marshals and stuff. Now, you're like, how do we go into another level of showing what Sam Gerard, Tommy Lee Jones' character, does? Well, let's bring in another element. We're completely done from the Harrison Ford character now. Completely gone from that. So now you have a brand new movie. Now you bring in Wesley Snipes. You bring in Robert Downey Jr. And this movie has a life on its own. You don't even think about The Fugitive. You're not even thinking about The Fugitive. You're thinking about this movie. So I say that to say, again, like we're saying, movies, that's a drama. That's an action drama in a sense.
And it's like between the two of those, I'm not even a big fan of The Fugitive. I like U.S. Marshals a lot. I'm not even a big fan of The Fugitive. But It's like you can watch them separately and it not even be a problem.
And it doesn't affect the other. You don't need to have watched The Fugitive to have to watch U.S. Marshals. A lot of movies nowadays, when they try to make again, John Wick, you kind of need to understand it. So you kind of need to watch John Wick 1 to understand John Wick 2. But that's the thing. Now, movies are predicated on you have to watch this original. You can't understand a sequel or where we go further in this chain, in this lineage, unless you watch the original. Give me a movie where I can watch it, and if I didn't watch the original, I'm like, oh, I need to play catch up then.
Not like the Cornetto trilogy.
Yes.
Those are all, you see the connections and everything.
Yes.
And you can watch them on your own. See, so pretty much Hollywood, take notes. Just let people make movies with their own identity. Let them stand on their own. We don't need all these tentpole bullshit.
Yeah.
So take notes, Hollywood. So to go ahead and close out the show, we're going to go ahead and get into our story time segment. And so we're talking about these action heroes, these 90 action heroes, and they both inspired our movie tastes, I can tell. And I already know who your inspiration is, so let's go ahead and get into that a little bit more.
Yeah, again, I've watched Wesley throughout numerous films. I've always been a fan, again, growing up as a young black kid, to see a black action star. You know, we started seeing smaller other ones, but he was a black blockbuster action star. He was that guy that if you put on the poster, you put his name out there, you had to see his film. Passenger 57. Again, The Art of War to me is still one of the greatest films ever. And I just love the way the characters he brings to life. You know, the person that he is on camera, and then again having to have the pleasure and the honor of working with him off camera. So I always, hold tight to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's Wesley Snipes is, I mean, because I had the different story because, like, I'm younger and I grew up on Blade, and then I started going back and seeing all this stuff, and it's like, we didn't have that. We didn't have that black leading man almost, because, like, he even did dramas and stuff too. You got New Jack City and, stuff like that,
I could go back there, the late 80s, early 90s when he was Nino Brown. He was Nino Brown no matter what he did.
Yeah,
No matter what he did, he was still Nino Brown.
Yeah. But it's like Wesley Snipes, he's always been 100% him. He has some of the best line delivery, my favorite line delivery of anything, especially in the Blade movies. From the first one. Some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill. It's one of my favorite lines.
When they shot at him, when he threw her out when he got out the hospital, and the cop shot at him, motherfucker, it just be those looks.
Yep.
Motherfucker, you lost your mind.
And the fun thing about the ice skating one, that is an improv line, and they're filming it, and they said they're like filming it, and they said like the dude operating the camera like almost lost his shit, but the director was like, no, no, keep it together because we're keeping this. Like, we need this line in the movie. So it's like the camera guy almost like ruined it for him, a classic line.
Some motherfuckers always ice skating uphill.
It's just, it's so good. It's too good. And then for me, on that note, you know, talk about these 90 actions ones, and, you know, it's the same person I picked for my tag team is JVD. You know how many times I've watched Bloodsport?
Yo, I'm with you.
I don't know.
I'm with you on that, bro. I'm with you, though.
My grandma, I would go to her house, and she had a limited selection of movies. She had about 9 movies, and only about 4 of them were worth watching. And one of those was Bloodsport. I ran that thing down. The VHS could not play it anymore. And then I just kept watching more and more. And he just, something about him was just, you know, he has that look. He's not the best actor per se, you know, but it's like when you watch him and appreciate him for his martial art prowess, you know, and then you see him in Kickboxer, you see him in Time Cop, you see him do all sorts of stuff. He even started going into the sci-fi route a little bit.
Universal Soldier.
So, I mean, he's got so many good ones. I remember I tried doing the Split thing one time. That did not end well, as you can imagine. I tried, though. Oh, yeah. I wanted to be JVD real bad. I was like, that's a badass right there. That's what makes you a badass. If you can do them splits, you're in. I'm going to start kicking the shit out of people once I get these splits down, I swear.
And that's why I put my legs back in place. The thighs out of order.
I was literally just stuck. I was like calling. I was just like, help. But I was like trying to like get like I was at my grandma's. I was trying to get her attention. If my cousin came and found me, and he was like, you got to be kidding me. And he's like, how many times you watch Bloodsport today? Oh, man.
So what, you just tried to go straight into the split? Or did you try to do the whole stretch your legs out like he did when he was training?
So, like, I stretched, and I told you, like, I've always been a little bit of a dancer.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I can do, like, the half splits.
Right.
I can do the cheats. And I was just like, all right. So I'd be watching the movie. I'd be, like, sitting in the butterfly position, like, okay, I think I can make this work. I put one foot up on a chair, and I put a stool. But I got to where I was like sideways. So this wasn't like horrific trip to the emergency room like you think it would be. I was like angled at a way that I was stuck. I was just stuck. Yeah. So yeah, kids, don't try that at home. You will not be able to kick like JVD if you do. It's a misconception.
How long did it take you to be able to walk straight again?
It's just a couple days. I was young. I bounced back quickly.
You probably was walking like a baby deer when you finally got out.
But my cousin, when he saw me, was just like, I can't even right now. I wish somebody would have got a picture of it.
That's what I was like, somebody need to get a picture of that just for the documentation of the hilarity of, you want to see how you almost bust all of your shit? This is it. I do like. One of the things I like about Jean-Claude Van Damme is, even though he may not be the greatest actor as far as line delivery, facial expressions.
Those eyes.
When they do the 90s montages with him in Kickboxer and Bloodsport, and you're like, oh, I'm traveling through time. Like, you go through all that.
I mean, Double Impact is another good one.
Oh, him and Dennis Rodman.
But it's just like the conviction that he has when he like does his moves and stuff, and that's what really sells me on his choreography too. He puts in all the noises and stuff. I mean, Street Fighter, depending on how you feel about it. I'm a Street Fighter fan. Okay. I think it's fine.
Okay. So I have problems with it here and there. So the problems I have are Blanca and Dawson. Mm-hmm. Vega and Sagat, I'm cool with. Ken and Ryu, okay, for what it was worth. I felt like they got to the point where they were trying to throw all the extra characters in. Mm-hmm. Balrog, I was like, meh. Yeah.
It was a sad send off for Raul Julia as well.
It was that's what I was. I was trying to get all. I was trying to get all the way down to Raul Julia, dude. To watch Raul Julia as M. Bison, it was like there was so much potential for this, and just when you cheesed it up by having him moving around playing the game on the joysticks,
yeah,
like you killed anything that could have came of that. Ming-Na Wen, and I did not realize until maybe a couple of months ago that Ming-Na Wen was Chun-Li in the movie. And for those who don't know who she is, she's, if you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., she's Agent May in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I did not know she was Chun-Li. I was like, holy hell.
Yeah, they tried to do a lot of things with that movie, but, as far as JVD movies go, I'll still put it in the positives column
you
for
do?
me.
And him as Colonel Guile? You really do?
I mean...
I wanted more of the hair. I was mad they didn't give more of the hair.
Okay, yes, I will definitely agree there.
They could have done more. You could have done more with the hair.
They could have, but with the budget they gave this movie.
What was the budget for this?
Well, actually, the budget was pretty decent. Yeah, it made money too. $35 million.
Of course, it made money with Street Fighter. How much did it make initially?
It made 99.
It was
99 mil.
It was Street Fighter.
Yeah,
because it was like when they did Mortal Kombat the first time.
I love those movies.
You love both of them?
Oh
my God! What is your guilty pleasure about Annihilation that you have to tell us?
About Annihilation? Annihilation,
because you have to have a guilty.
Annihilation has so much going on. There is so much going on, and I applaud them for trying to get as many Mortal Kombat things in because they knew they weren't getting another one. They said, "Okay, we're not going to get another movie after this. We were lucky enough to get the sequel. Let's try and." The recastings are just funny to me.
The casting of Christopher Lambert to James Remar as Raiden.
Oh yeah, between that, but then Sonya as well.
The Sonya cast
recasting. What's her
Bridget?
face?
Can't remember her last name.
I just remember as Veronica.
Yeah,
from Billy Madison.
Yeah, recasting her.
Mm-hmm.
Talia Soto was like, "I'm here."
I don't know. I can.
Robin Shue was like, "Give me this check." I'm not.
I don't know. I just thought there was some there's a lot going on there. But they got Jax with arms because we got Jax in the first one, recast it again.
They sure the hell did.
They should have kept Michael Jai White. Poor guy did. That was Michael Jai White in the first one.
That is?
Yep.
Wait a minute.
That is Michael Jai White as...
Because we already had to correct you on Mark Dacascos.
That is true, but I don't think I don't think it's twice on this one.
Wait a minute. That was Michael Jai White in the first one?
And then, because then he comes back, Michael Jai White eventually came back and did this this online short film.
Yeah, he did.
I
remember the online one. I like that one. No, that wasn't him. That was Gregory McKinney.
Damn.
Yep.
You're making me look so bad.
That was Gregory McKinney.
They look so much like. Well, imagine a Michael Jai White Jax now.
I could have lived with that. But then you went and got the dude who played Saber in American Gladiators. You was like, the
arms still look kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like, let's get Lynn Williams and do that. And then I was like, ugh.
I like the climax end scene of Annihilation.
The horrible ass.
Mm-hmm. You got 7 fights going on at once.
The horrible ass BC. The horrible ass Luke Kang.
Because why did they put that in this movie?
Because they
wanted to.
They had to put everything in.
They wanted everything. Guilty pleasure for sure.
Brian Thompson with Shao Kahn with that strong ass jaw.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's definitely gonna be a Mortal Kombat themed episode of Deezus Take the Reel in the future because I love those movies.
I will Skype in for that everything in my love of my heart.
I love them. Well, speaking of which, that's the episode, guys. We covered a lot of ground on this episode. I'm glad I did. Jay, it was a pleasure talking to you.
It's a pleasure talking with you, man. Talking movies and just running off on a different tangents about different films.
No, that's the best. That's the best way to talk about movies. It's just let's just talk about everything. And you have and that's why I was excited to have you on the show. You have interesting opinions as well.
Yes.
We're not just talking. Neither one of us are certified film critics per se. But. We got our opinions and we stick to them.
Which that's one of the things I like about the industry now and being a part of it. They're allowing more original voices that you don't have to be either you just like it or you don't like it.
Yeah, and it's that's what you find these people that you like their opinions with, you gel with them, and it's like you said, if you don't like their opinion, oh well, just don't follow them.
Don't follow them.
Just don't. You could be an internet troll and use hours of your time to troll them, but don't do that.
And just for the record, please just know you try to troll me, you fucking with the right one. I will sit back.
You're welcome in the trolls.
Because it's like you realize some trolls can only go when they realize nobody will say anything back. Mm-hmm. When you realize you can get a response and not just a response, an ongoing engagement with somebody, they were like, oh shit. that he's gonna really say something back. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you called me out. Like, let's go.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you think this ain't gonna happen? Okay, here it is.
I ain't just no scary ass behind the keyboard. I ain't fucking with you.
Of course.
Of course. Well, speaking about people online and on the keyboards, where can the good people find you, man?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Mr. J Washington. That's MrJaywashington. Check out my podcast along with Bobby Hill, the Trusty Sidekick podcast. We get you caught up on everything in the Marvel and DC live TV shows and cinematic movie universes. You can find me jwashington.com. On any upcoming appearances, anything. Catch me at the Movie Trivia Schmodown. Catch me on Screen Junkies and all that good stuff.
Yeah, literally just type in his name. You're going to find all sorts of shit going on because dudes work on crazy things. So definitely be on the lookout for all that stuff, guys. That. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at Deezus12. That's where I'll be posting my reviews and all my other movie thoughts and pretty much just literally anything. So find me over there. Check out the podcast, of course, at Deezus TT Reel on Twitter, but Deezus Take the Reel every single Tuesday, Deezus T Money every other Friday, and then you can also catch me hosting some shows on Core Temp Arts Podcast Network. I recap some TV shows for TV Ate My Brain, and I have a new podcast coming, but details on that later. But until then, peace out, motherfuckers. Thank you so much for listening to Deezus Take the Reel, the dopest movie talk show on the internet. You can find me every Tuesday on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Play Music, pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts. If you like what you're listening to, write a 5-star iTunes review, and I'll read it on the Deezus T Money Show, which is every other Friday. And of course, spread this with ya homies. Last but not least, stay till the end for a little pre-recording something. Peace out, motherfuckers. All right. Do some pre-recording so we can get some levels. So here's the story on how I just got here.
Okay.
So I'm waiting for the for an Uber or for a Lyft, and there's two cars close to me, and one of them is this old ass man named Harry, and then there's another one. I did the share thing because you know save money out here, but fucking. I see the old man, and it said, all right, Harry's on his way. I was like, no, I don't want him. I was like, get him away from me. I tried to, cancel it. I tried to cancel it, and it wouldn't let me. It was like, no, Harry's already on the way. I said, shit. This dude pulls up, and I kid you not, he has an oxygen tank.
Your driver?
My driver had an oxygen tank. I didn't know that was allowed for Uber. Or for Lyft. Do they not screen people like that? I don't think they screen like that. I don't think they say. Is it all online, I'm assuming? Because,
most of it is online. I know because I know a buddy who he signed up for Lyft, and the only thing he had to do was go sign up and get the thing to get the car to drive for Uber, better yet. And the majority of it is just online. But the fact that your driver's in the front seat with an oxygen tank, you like, man, he going to run out of air. We going to die. They going to charge me full price.
Right? I was like, this don't have an asterisk next to his name? Get a little discount?
You know what? There's some that'll tell you the driver's hearing impaired.
Okay. Well, that would make sense.
They'll tell you your driver is hearing impaired. And so the driver will have to constantly keep looking at you in the mirror to try to read your lips.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, but which is weird because I need you to keep your eyes on the road.
Yeah, it's I understand. You're trying to give opportunities and stuff, and that's just fine.
That's fine,
but you got to be capable. But this dude, he pulls up, and I see the other two passengers, and they both look at me like, help me. And I knew something was fishy because I was sitting there waiting, and it'll tell you how far away he is. It was stuck on 4 minutes for about 10. They're he's 4 minutes away. And I was just where is, it was bad. Dude pulls up. He pulls up into a, instead of pulling around on the side to a street, he pulls up onto the parking lot of a rent-a-car place that has one entrance. So we're up in the parking lot. People are trying to get out with their rental cars out of this one entrance while he's trying to turn around. He's almost hitting shit. I was just like... This
is not good. This is just not going well.
It's not good, but at the same time, I was like, I need at least one LA story for each day that I'm here.
You got this one,
and I got today covered.
You got today's story.
You
got today's story perfectly. Damn.
Yeah. So that's how I got here. This is if people take a look at my other podcasts and stuff. Me and my roommate, we tell stories all the time. This is normal for us though. It doesn't matter where we are. You ever feel like that when you like go on stretches where you're just like, how are any of these like stories real? Like, ain't nobody gonna believe me.
I've had those. I was like, I'm gonna tell all this on stage, and as I'm gonna tell all this shit on stage, everybody's gonna be like, did you make that up? And I'll be like, no. Why would I make that up?
Yeah,
I feel like that's exactly what it's gonna be. Why would I make that up?
That's literally half of my stories.
Dude, I had so much shit from being on the road doing shows where you go into these little small backwater towns and people are like, that couldn't have happened. That didn't happen there. I was like, yes, the hell it is. Then here comes another comic or two to be like, yeah, it happens in that town. You know, somebody corroborates the story and shit like that. Or I've had times where I've been driving by myself or go somewhere and something weird happens and I'm like, I can't pull out my phone fast enough to document all this shit because me just trying to tell people won't do it justice. You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
So I've had that happen a lot.
That's literally where the pics or it didn't happen mentality started.